Hello everybody and welcome back to GamingOnCaffeine. My name is Isaac and we are back for episode 16 of FTB Infinity Evolved Skyblock. Last episode we started out with a couple of new Ender IO machines. We set up the vat over here, which we are now using to make rocket fuel. We set up the sag mill, which we are currently using to make silicon. And we also set up a grinder over here. So we are now collecting mob essence and mob drops from this new dropper spawner that we set up before last episode. And today, what I want to start by working on is I want to start by setting up an automatic soul sand sifting system. But before we do that, one thing that I do want to do is something that a bunch of people pointed out in the comment section of the last episode, and that is that we should put witch water at the bottom of our dropper over here, because right now we have normal water there to stop the mobs dying when they hit the floor. If we put witch water there instead of normal water, what's going to happen is whenever the skeletons land here, they are going to automatically turn into wither skeletons, and then when they get killed by the grinder, that is going to give us a chance to get some wither skeleton skulls, and that's going to save us time in the long run, so we don't have to make ourselves a specific sword that has beheading and then go to the nether or try and find some other way of getting wither skeleton skulls. If we could just have it work by default inside the spawner over here, it's going to be a lot easier for us to get wither skeleton skulls, and therefore a lot easier for us to fight the wither at some point in hopefully the near future. You shouldn't touch the witch water, by the way. It does give a little bit of a negative debuff, and I've also lost that piece of cobblestone there. That's fine. So now we've done that, we're going to have to wait a couple of seconds here for all the witch water debuffs to wear off. But what I want to work on at the start of today's episode is a soul sand sifting system. I want to start sifting soul sand because, again, if we look towards the wrench, which is the Applied Energistics 2 wrench, the one that we're trying to work towards to get some Applied Energistics up and running. To get this, we have been mainly focusing on the enriched sunerium, which is still going. The uranium is still being made in the nuclear reactor, and the sunerium is still being made in the molecular transformer. But the Galgadorian ingots that we need over here still need to be taken care of. And for those, we need to get ourselves these Eyes of Galgador, and for those, we're going to need some gas tiers, as well as quite a few of these Eyes of Ender, fermented spider eyes, and magma creams. And I don't feel like fighting a ton of ghasts to get all of the gas tiers, to get all of the Eyes of Galgador. And instead, what I think we're going to do is we're going to sift some soul sand, because as we've shown before, if we sift some soul sand, we have a chance of getting nether quartz, nether wart, and gas tiers. If we can find it here, here it is. Nether wart, nether quartz, and gas tiers we get from sifting soul sand, all of which are useful. And in fact, the nether wart is going to come in useful later on in today's episode, because I do want to set up an auto spawner later on in today's episode to start to get some enderman spawning. And in order to make the auto spawner, we do need some nether wart, and so we do need to do some sifting, because there is no nether. The nether is completely void. It's just a void nether skyblock, and so we can't use that to actually get any nether wart or anything at all, really. It's just completely empty. So the way we're going to do that is we are first of all going to grab, I guess this barrel over here will do for now. We should probably get some cobblestone and start filling in these holes that we're putting down all over the place. Let's just take some out of there. We'll quickly fill that back in, and while we're at it, we might as well quickly fill this back in, just so we don't get hit by skeletons next time we wander past. Cool stuff. And so I'm thinking about setting it up just around back of here, and the reason I'm going to do that is because we already have normal sand being produced, and the way we get soul sand is by putting normal sand into a bucket that is filled with witch water, and the way that we get witch water is by taking an ex nihilo barrel, filling it with water, and then having some mycelium around it. Now, right now, we can't break this piece of mycelium. And what the heck's happened here? I'll put that back there. Right now, we can't break this piece of mycelium, or we could, but I think we would lose it and it would just become dirt, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it does, which is fine, because we're not really going to be using this at any point now. What we can do instead is exactly the same as we did before. We can come back over to here, grab some of these ancient spores, grab some of our dirt. We should probably also look into getting an automatic dirt production up and running, because we are pretty low on dirt right now. But my plan is to have this somewhere around here. So let's have a look. If we put down some cobblestone, this hammer here is the one that's producing sand and then sending it down to the auto compressor. What I want to do is kind of intersect this sand here, have some of it go through to the auto compressor to be sifted down and hammered down into all of the ingots and the byproducts, but I want some of it to also come this way and go into a barrel. So what I'm thinking about is preferably not dying in the cauldron right there. We do want it to be fairly high up, because we're also going to have an auto sieve beneath it, so we can automatically sieve all of the soul sand into the nether quartz, nether wart, and gas tiers. And so what we're going to do is, I think for now, I will put this right about there, and then we'll have the sand kind of just pump around and into that. I think we might have to have a hopper on top of that for the sand to go into it, but that should work just fine. For the water, I'm going to pump directly from this water source over here that we're currently using for our boiler. And so for that, we are going to need to get ourselves some more pipes, and we're also going to need to replace this hopper over here with a transfer node as well. So we can start to send some of the sand over to the barrel as well. So let's take a quick look at how many pipes we have. We currently have 5 pipes. I don't think that's quite going to be enough. So let me quickly grab some redstone glass and some normal stone, and then we can use that to make a couple more pipes. We're also going to need to make another transfer node. Let's have a look real quick what we need for that. We've already got the redstone block. I think we already have some chests lying around. We do. And I think after that, all we're missing is some redstone, and we might be pretty much good to go. We are. So we can take that. Then all we need to do is make ourselves the actual pipes, which we can do fairly easily if we grab one more piece of glass like that. Let's click the recipe and shift click it in there once we've made some stone slabs. And then we can just do something like that. Boom, boom, and boom. Nice. So that should be enough to run water from the fluid transfer node over to the new oak barrel. Let's see if that is correct real quick. We'll put you down over here like so, and then just have that run. Ooh, I kind of don't want it to intersect. I know we've got this like weird intersection here, but I don't think these are actually transferring between each other, if I'm not mistaken. But I would prefer if all these pipes did not connect as much as possible. So we'll put that down. I guess that's fine. Is that going to start filling with water? It might, is the answer. It does seem to be sending stuff, albeit very slowly. Right now, it's only got one world interaction upgrade. What I have done in some of these other transfer nodes for liquids is put in some speed upgrades so that they can send water faster. So these can send steam, actually, sorry, faster from the steam boiler to these steam dynamos to make sure they can run at maximum power. What I think I'll do is we'll take like 4 out of each of these and put them into the transfer node around here and see if that starts pumping the water a little bit faster, possibly even around, yeah, to here. Good stuff. So now that it's going into here, all we need to do is get rid of this hopper right here, and in replace of that hopper, stick down our new transfer node like that. For now, this will work in exactly the same way. I'll just pump stuff directly into here, but what we're going to do as well is have some pipes pipe round and into this chest like so. I don't know if that's going to automatically do that. Let me quickly get rid of that like so. I don't know if that's going to do that automatically or if it's just going to go to the closest inventory, but there is an upgrade you can make, and one that I have made, called the pseudo round robin upgrade, I believe is what it's called. This guy over here, and basically what this does is it forces the transfer node to send items to alternate inventories. So it'll try and send it to all of the inventories where possible. I can't remember exactly where I put this. It's probably actually, oh, it's in this transfer node over here, because we were having a bit of an issue where all of our cobblestone was going to this first auto compressor, and this one was constantly full on cobblestone. We were getting a lot of gravel that was being sifted, but on the far end here, there was not a lot of dust being sifted at all, at least not comparatively to how much gravel was being sifted. And so I put in the pseudo round robin upgrade, so hopefully now it's sending stuff to all of these, although it does look like this one is still receiving the bulk of the cobblestone, so we'll have to kind of keep an eye on that and see if it works. Boom! For now, if I put that in there, it won't send it yet because it can't put it into the barrel. And actually, I think what we're going to have to do is get rid of that and put the hopper right about there. That should... Oh, we're going to have to make that like that, and then we're gonna have to, oh, okay, so that's not gonna connect. Give me a second. Let's come back over here and quickly grab a cobblestone cover, one of these guys, so we can stop the pipe from connecting to the hopper above it, because we do not want that to happen whatsoever. Otherwise, this auto compressor is gonna try to compress sand, and it's gonna get stuck further down. So if we put that preferably, oh, can I put that there? Can I put that like right there, like that, and then put the pipe underneath it like that? I totally can. Cool. So that should now send sand over into this hopper every so often, kind of as it breaks the sand down. Some of it should end up in here like it has, and now all we need to do is die via the crusher. All we need to do now is set up the mycelium, and we are good to go. So if we take this dirt and stick it around just by the base of the water here, you can see we have made some mossy cobblestone. That's made by putting cobblestone down near an ex nihilo barrel that's filled with water. I believe if you put more mycelium down, it turns into witch water faster. I'm fairly certain someone told me that, though, and it hasn't been like I haven't checked it on the wiki, so that might be completely incorrect, but this is now transforming into witch water. Once it's transformed into witch water, the sand that is in this hopper here will go down, become soul sand, and then all we have to do is pull it out of the bottom and have it sifted and sent round to some kind of chest, possibly even to our storage drawers over in the distance there. And so for that, what I think I'm going to do, just to make life a little bit easier, is set up another hopper. So let's quickly grab another chest, some more iron. I don't think we need iron plates for this. Let's just do something like that. Take our hopper, and we should be good to go. I'm fairly certain we already have an auto sieve lying around in here somewhere. We've got the automatic hammer, and we also have the automatic sieve that we had that before, from before we set up all of the heavy sieves from over here. I don't believe that you can compress soul sand, so I don't think that we can sieve compressed soul sand. Yeah, I'm fairly certain that's not a thing. So for now, we're just going to take this normal auto sieve. We're going to put this hopper. Let's put the auto sieve down first if we can. So let's put the auto sieve right about... actually, yeah, let's put the auto sieve right about there, like that. And then let's put the hopper pointing onto it like so. And now all the soul sand should go down, end up in here. And now what we need to do is actually hook this thing up with power. We do have one of these MV wire connectors right there. So, once again, if we grab one more MV wire connector, we should be able to hook that up fairly easily. We have some MV wire lying around over here. It doesn't look like we have an MV wire connector, but I'm fairly certain they're not too hard to make. We just need 4 of this hardened clay and 3 iron ingots. Do we have any hardened clay? Of course we don't. Alright, guys, I'm going to go away. I'm going to grab a little bit more clay, and I'll be back in a second. And a little while later, now that we have 8 more of these MV wire connectors, we can put one here, hook this up with some MV wire like so, and that should begin sifting the soul sand. And finally, the last thing we need to do is get rid of this cobblestone, stick down a chest like so, and then put the hopper down like that. And now we have a fully automatic soul sand sifting system, which is going to put all of the nether quartz, all of the nether wart, and all of the gas tiers directly into this chest for us to use whenever we like. Hopefully, when we come back to this, we'll have enough gas tiers to make the Galgadorian ingots to go ahead and make the Applied Energy 62 wrench, and hopefully, when we come back here for some nether wart as well later on in today's episode, to make the auto spawner, we will hopefully also have that as well. So, speaking of which, that's actually the next thing that I'm going to start working on now. I want to make an auto spawner, and the reason why I want to do that is because right now, the mob grinder that we have over here, this big dropper, doesn't spawn enderman. The room upstairs is too small to spawn enderman. It's only a too high room, and therefore only things like skeletons, zombies, spiders, witches, etc. can spawn inside of the room, and enderman can't spawn, and that's by design, because the way it works, we've got water pushing them right now, which means that if the enderman were to walk into the water, they would just teleport away and kind of land somewhere on the island. That'd be a big mess. I could replace the water up there with something like conveyor belts, at which point we could allow enderman to spawn in there and have them drop down, but what we're going to do is we're going to set up an auto spawner, use that auto spawner to spawn as many endermen as we like, and we can use it to spawn a bunch of other stuff later on down the line if we need it as well. So it's a nice thing to have, and that is what we're going to try and make right about now. So to make this, we need 2 more plastic sheets. We started making those last episode, and between episodes, I have gone ahead and used up almost all of our rocket fuel. You'll see we've got 1 bucket's worth left in that tank, but I have gone ahead and made 10 plastic sheets and stuck them into this drawer up here. Other than that, we need 1 nether wart, which we're working on right now. We need 1 machine chassis. I've gone ahead and made that already. We need 2 magma creams, which are fairly easy to make, a lot easier than I thought they were going to be to actually make, because all we need for this is 1 blaze powder and 1 slime, and we can actually make slime using ex nihilo. All we need to do is fill a normal oak barrel with some water and then add milk to it, and we get 4 slime balls. So if we were to quickly grab some of our water here from our unlimited water source, stick it into one of these barrels over here that we were using for dirt previously, if we were to do that, and then quickly milk one of our cows, that should get us more than enough slime to actually go ahead and make all of these magma creams. Can I not milk these guys? Okay, so for whatever reason, the cows didn't want to be milked, but I've since restarted my game, and now it seems to work. I'm not quite sure what the heck happened there. Let me show you real quick. If I go ahead and put this one away, if we put this into here, that should... Oh, what did I... the server might have been lagging a little bit, guys. The server may have been lagging just a little bit because our water is also gone. Let me run over here and quickly grab some more real quick. I'm not quite sure what happened there, but if we take this and stick it down inside one of our barrels, let me go check that I can, in fact, milk the cows. I thought it might have been a tweak that was made for the expert mode of Feed the Beast Infinity Evolved. Maybe you had to get some kind of rancher from Minecraft Reloaded in order for the cows to be able to be milked, but apparently it's not. Apparently it was just a bug on my end. If we do that, you can see now at the top there it says sliming. It's on 6%. It's working its way up to 100%. Once it's done, I'm assuming that we're going to get a block of slime that we can then use to make our magma creams. And then the only hard part, really, about making this auto spawner is the Z logic controller from Ender.io, which we have to make in the slice and splice machine using some shears, an iron axe, 2 solarium ingots, 1 zombie head, 2 silicon, and 1 redstone. So, let's have a look here real quick at the slice and splice. This guy is fairly easy to make. All we need is 5 of these solarium ingots, any kind of mob head, 1 iron axe, 1 shear, and 1 machine chassis. I have gone ahead and made both machine chassis between episodes. This thing is almost done. Whilst we're waiting for that, the way that we make solarium is using soul sand and gold inside the induction smelter. So what I'm going to do real quick is, I guess, get rid of this. Like, if we get rid of this hopper, I don't know, if we get rid of... I guess this sifter for now. If we get rid of the sieve, which has gone ahead and popped all this stuff off, if we take that sieve, that should now begin to make soul sand kind of on its own. It's taking a while for the water to get here. And so what I'm going to do, guys, I'm going to go away. I'm going to wait until we have a little bit more soul sand. I'm going to use that soul sand alongside some gold. Is this done? It is. We got ourselves 2 slime balls, which is not the 4 that I thought we were going to get, but is more than enough to make the auto spawner. But yeah, what I'm going to do, I'm going to go away. I'm going to get a bunch of soul sand. I'll wait until this gives me a bunch of soul sand. Use that soul sand in the induction smelter over here with some gold to get some solarium ingots. I will probably set up another water source with another liquid transfer node a little bit closer to this barrel, kind of give it its own dedicated one so that this works a little bit faster, because right now we're getting a lot more sand than we're actually able to use. And I'll be back in a second. And a little while later, now that we have at least 5 of these solarium ingots, we can go ahead and make ourselves an iron axe like so. We can make some shears, again, fairly easily like so. And then I think that's pretty much everything that we need. We can put you there, the chassis in the middle, the solarium ingots all the way around the outside. And then finally, the last thing that we need is any of the like 4 or 5 mob heads in the game. And we can get any of those from over here in our chest. We currently have creeper, zombie, and I thought we had some skeleton ones. I'm going to use the creeper one just because I know the zombie ones are used for the Z-Logic controller. Like specifically, you have to use the zombie one in order to make the Z-Logic controller. And so I'm going to like keep as many of those as we possibly can for when we need to make more of those. And for now, we're going to use the creeper head to make the slice and splice itself like so. And then we're going to realize that we have no spare ports or no spare conduits free. So I'm just going to stick this down for now. Right about there. I know it looks horrible. I will try and fix it at some point in the future. But for now, we'll put that there. We'll set the front here to output, which I think is that. It is. And now we can actually use this to start to make ourselves the Z-Logic controller. We are going to need another axe and another pair of shears. I'm not quite sure why you need one in the recipe and one in the machine itself, but we'll take another iron axe and we'll make ourselves another set of shears. We can put both of those into the slice and splice like so. And then if we go back to the auto spawner and take a look at the recipe for the Z-Logic controller, for this we need 2 more solarium ingots, 2 more silicon, 1 zombie head, and 1 redstone. We should be getting a ton more soul sand now that I've set up this second transfer node with another unlimited water source underneath it. As you can see in here, we've got 5, which is not a ton, but it's enough for now. How many do we need? We need 2 of these. We already have 1 solarium ingot. So for now, I'm going to stick this guy back down like that and then quickly hook this thing back up with a little bit of power. Let's just put you there and then do this again like so. There we go. Let that continue to sift up because we do still need the nether wart in a second to actually make the auto spawner itself. Let's come back over here. Let's quickly grab 2 golden ingots, throw those into the induction furnace whilst we're waiting for those to smelt up. Let's go grab ourselves the zombie head, and I'm pretty sure that is everything we need to make the Z-Logic controller. It does require 20,000 redstone flux in order to actually craft, and so what we're probably going to have to do is go away for a few seconds, wait for it to actually craft up, or maybe a few minutes. But before we do that, we are going to need the solarium ingots. We're missing, oh no, we've got the soul sand, that's all fine. Silicon, we have, I think, in a barrel now over here somewhere. It is, yeah, right about there. Let's take 2 of those, and then stick all of this together inside here. We're going to put you there, you there. I think it's that on the top, soul ingot to either side, and then redstone in the middle, and we are good to go. Let's see how fast this thing is actually going to craft. Hopefully pretty fast. Actually, surprisingly fast. Actually, that's not surprising because this energy cell has a nice buffer of power and 800 redstone flux per tick. And so, this is done. We have ourselves a Z-Logic controller. And now what we need to do is actually make the auto spawner itself. So, let's grab some blaze powder from somewhere, which I am like 100% certain that we have because we're getting it from sifting dust. Once we've got that, we can craft that up into some magma creams. Emeralds we have in spades. Let's go ahead and grab 2 of those. We already have the machine chassis. We can grab ourselves 2 of these plastic sheets. And now the final thing that we're missing is the nether wart. Has our soul sand sifting system done enough to actually get us some nether wart? The answer is possibly, and it hasn't. It has not yet got us the nether wart. And so what I'm going to do, guys, I'm going to go away. I'm going to wait until this thing sifts through enough soul sand to get some nether wart, and I'll be back in a second. And finally, a little while later, the soul sand sifting system has finally given me some nether wart. So, if we come on back around to our crafting table, we can now finalize our craft of the auto spawner like so. And whilst I was waiting for all of this to get made, I have adjusted my mob spawner spawner down here a little bit to make room for the auto spawner. So what my plan is here is I've moved the grinder a little bit, I've moved the chests all kind of up a little bit, and I would like it very much if I could fit through this gap. I'm fairly certain I could before, but basically all the mobs that fall from the dropper should still spawn and should still drop down into the witch water here and land in there, and then if they're skeletons, they should turn into wither skeletons, etc, etc. The grinder has a 5x5 radius, so it should go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and should kill any mob that's like just in front of this block here. So any mob this way forward should get killed. If any manage to get behind here, they might not get killed instantly, but I'm assuming they'll generally like eventually walk around and get killed by the grinder at some point. And my plan now is to put the auto spawner kind of smack bang in the middle over here, and start to have some endermen spawn into the same room, so we'd have to set up a separate grinder for the enderman spawner as well as the normal spawner. And for that to work, we are going to need a few more of these hardened flux ducts, and we're also probably going to need some fluid ducts as well, because my plan is to have the fluid, the essence, pumped directly out of the grinder, around, along, and into the tank, which I'm now going to put on top of the auto spawner. So let's go ahead and just for now stick this down, let's say right about, we'll put it right there where that block just was. We'll put it right there, and then I'm going to have the tank right about there on top, like that. Will set that to output mode. I don't think that's going to affect the brightness of up here, if I'm not mistaken. Also, I'm not quite sure why mobs aren't spawning right now. I feel like they should be. There is probably somebody else on the server with a pretty big spawner, and so that's probably why it's not spawning right now, but I'm not complaining, because as of right now, this makes it nice and easy for me to actually work on this. And so what I'm going to do now is let's head on back out here real quick, and let's see about making some more hardened flux ducts, as well as some more fluid ducts. So we haven't actually made any fluid ducts whatsoever yet. I guess we could use fluid transfer nodes like we've been using for all of our infinite water sources up until now, but I'd much rather try and make some of these fluid ducts from thermal expansion. So we can either go with the temperate fluid ducts or the hardened fluid ducts. I don't think that we need the hardened fluid ducts. The hardened fluid ducts are the higher tier of fluid duct, but they are only really necessary if you're going to try and move really hot liquids like lava or blazing pyrotheum. And so for us, we can probably get away with these temperate fluid ducts, and to make these, we need 2 hardened glass, 2 copper plates, and 1 gold. We might have some copper plates lying around in here. We have exactly 2. I'm fairly certain we still have some hardened glass over here as well. We got 15 at the top there in whaler, so we can take that. We then just need 1 glass as well. Combine all those up, we'll put the glass in the middle, we'll put the plates either side, and the hardened glass at the top and the bottom, and that gets us these 6 temperate fluid ducts. And then my plan is to just have these pump the essence directly out of the grinder around and into this over here. So I think something like that should work just fine. Yeah, you can see all the essence going out of the grinder along into that tank, and then the tank is automatically putting it into the auto spawner. If you didn't catch that earlier, by the way, I just right click the tank. If you right click it, you can turn it from input mode to output mode. Right now it's on input mode, now it's on output mode. I think even though it's in output mode, it should still be able to receive, and I want that to face forward, it should still be able to receive the essence from here. You can see the essence is gone. I'm fairly certain it can still receive at the top, but it just means that it outputs at the bottom here. This thing is now full. All it needs now is some power. So again, let's take a quick look at what we need for some hardened flux ducts. I used the last of the ones that we made last episode on getting the wire like around and up to the back there. So for these, we need 4 redstone, 2 redstone chipsets, 2 steel plates, and 1 more hardened glass. I'm really glad that we made like a nice backlog of hardened glass last episode, because it is not that much of a pain to make, but it's a bit of a pain to make. We are in need of some steel plates, so let's quickly grab some of this refined iron. We've only got, we got 44 of those ingots left. We might want to start looking into making a little bit more of those, because I do like to have quite a few stacks of refined iron just lying around because of just how much stuff requires steel in this mod pack. Whilst we're waiting for those, the redstone chipsets we should already have. I put them away in the storage drawers over here with the rest of the chipsets. Let's go ahead and take 2 of those. I don't think we're going to need more than 6 hardened flux ducts, but we might. I guess if we do, we'll come back to it in a second. Let's take 4 of you, as well as 1 hardened glass. Let's grab those steel plates, and let's craft up these hardened flux ducts. And once that's done, the auto spawner should pretty much be good to go. All we're going to be missing is telling it actually what mob we want it to spawn, because as of right now, it doesn't have a mob to spawn. It just doesn't do anything, even if we provide it with power and with mob essence. So let me go ahead and pipe this round. Let's see if we put this along like here. This is going to mess things up a little bit in terms of mobs falling. A lot of them are going to land on these pipes, but again, eventually they should wander off, land in here, and even if they're on top of there, the grinder might still get them. It works in a 5x5x5 area, the grinder, and so it should get most of the mobs that end up in here. What I need to do now is we need to capture an Enderman in a reusable safari net, and then put that safari net into the auto spawner to tell it what we want it to spawn. To make the reusable safari net, we need 4 ender pearls and 1 ghast tear. I am fairly certain that we do not have 4 ender pearls. We do not. We have 1 ender pearl, but we do also have the ghast tear, so that's fairly nice. We are going to have to get 3 more ender pearls though, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and turn off all of the torches. I'm going to take away all the torches at the top of this grind. I'm also going to go away and try and figure out what's up with mobs not spawning at all, because we are on difficulty mode. Like you can see, I'm losing hunger. We're not on peaceful, and so mobs should be spawning. So I'm going to go away. I'm going to try and figure out why mobs aren't spawning. I'm going to try and kill 3 more endermen to get some more ender pearls. I'll be back in a second. Okay, so way too long later, and I don't have any more ender pearls. I still just have the 1. I have tried to get endermen to spawn, but they are just not spawning. I cleared out the entirety of the top of this this mob spawner here. We're getting nothing but the creepers, skeletons, and zombies. I even put torches inside the actual spawner itself, so the only place the mobs can spawn right now is on top of that spawner there. When that didn't work, I tried building a big cobblestone platform over here. Couldn't get any endermen to spawn, so I have no idea what the problem is there. I do have a plan for next episode for how we're going to actually get this to work. This is a sticky skeleton, not quite sure what that's about, but what I have done, and you'll notice I have made the ender, which is a sword from Ender.io, and basically what this does is it gives you a higher chance of getting ender pearls when you kill endermen with it, and I believe it also stops endermen from teleporting away when you hit them, and making them a lot easier to kill as well. And I've also tweaked this a little bit. I moved the grinder up by 1 block because we were getting spiders falling down and getting stuck just about here, because spiders take up a 2x2 area, and so because there's no 2x2 area here thanks to the portable tank, the spiders weren't spawning down and therefore weren't getting killed by the grinder. But now that it's 1 more block up, the grinder can kill all the mobs that are just above that portable tank there, and so they're now being killed. And so what I'm going to do, guys, I'm going to go away. I have a plan for next episode for how we're going to get the other 3 ender pearls, and then how we're going to use those ender pearls to get more ender pearls using the auto spawner over here. But for now, I'm going to end this episode of Feed the Beast Infinity Evolved Skyblock there. As always, be sure to hit that like button if you did enjoy the video. It really does help out a lot. Leave a comment down below, and I will see you guys next time.